Down to nothing.
How can nothing explode?
That's what I asked him. Excuse me? Nothing exploded, and here we are. Huh? Oh, that sounds good. Well, if you tell a big lie, people are more likely to believe it. Do you understand how many millions of Americans believe that? Do you understand how many kids got taught that and believed it today in our school system within 10 miles of where I'm standing? Think about it. Think about the ramifications of that. If a kid believes that, what's his image of himself? I'm nothing but dirt, nothing but chemicals. See, the Christian image, you're made in God's image. God loves you. He's got a purpose for you. You get a bunch of kids believing that, there's no telling what they're going to do. One of the two boys that shot everybody in Colorado, both of the boys were strong believers in evolution and followers of Charles Darwin's teachings. One of them had on his T-shirt, natural selection, when they found him dead in the hallway. That's where it leads, folks. Hey, there's no God. Had a kid sat in the second row in a public school I spoke at in Pennsylvania. He said, Mr. Hovind, I'm an atheist. I said, really? He said, yep, there is no God. I said, are you sure? He said, oh yeah, I'm sure. I said, well, tell me, son, if you're an atheist, how do you determine right from wrong? He said, oh, that's easy. I decide if something's right or wrong. He said, I'm the God of my own universe. I said, boy, I'm glad to hear about that, son, because I'm going to shoot you in 5 minutes. He said, you can't do that. I said, oh, yeah, you see, I'm the God of my own universe, and I decided it's fine for me to shoot you. What's wrong with that logic? Hey, if there is no God, the strongest survive, right? If I can take it away and I'm bigger than you, well, it's just your tough luck. Doesn't the lion do that with the zebra when he gets hungry? I'm taking your life away so I can eat. This type of thinking leads to the logical conclusion is there is no such thing as right and wrong, so might makes right. This kind of thinking leads to Adolf Hitler, Joseph Stalin, Pol Pot. We get into a lot more on that in video number 5 about how communism and Marxism and Nazism all ties in with evolution. It all starts, you have to get rid of God, which then, if there is no God, who's the next most likely candidate to be the king of the universe? Man. Humanism has to have evolution. That's why it's the humanist worldview. Deify mankind. Ye shall be as gods. Exactly what Lucifer said. And that's what's going on. That's how it ties together. This is Scientific American, which is a major science journal. I want you to look what this author said. The observable universe could have evolved, remember, 6 meanings to that word, okay, from an infinitesimal region, which means a dot. It's then tempting to go one step further and speculate that the entire universe evolved from literally nothing. They put this in a science book and call it science. I'd call it a fairy tale and put it in the garbage. That doesn't explain anything. Science is what we know, what we can observe, what we can test. You can't know or observe or test that. That's wild speculation. He's guessing, folks. He doesn't know a thing. According to the Big Bang Theory, there's several different aspects to this. One of the Big Bang Theory says that a bunch of nothings all over exploded and produced all the galaxies. So it happened all simultaneous. Oh, that explains it real good, you know. Another one says it was all in one dot and exploded and flew out in all directions. Another one, called the nebula hypothesis, says this cloud of dust all got together. Of course, obviously the question is, where did all this dust come from, right? But all this dirt in the universe got together in a little bitty tiny dot, and it kept getting drawn in tighter and tighter, and of course it began to spin. Now, the idea that the universe was spinning, which is what the textbooks teach, it spun faster. This is important, because if you go out and look at the planets or the sun or the earth or the stars, everything seems to be spinning. So where did this spinning motion come from? Doesn't it take energy to make something turn around? They either have to have each planet and star and sun and moon start spinning on its own somehow, which is quite a stretch, you know. Why is everything spinning? Or they have to say the initial object was spinning, and that's why all the fragments are spinning. If there was a big bang, you know, this initial object was spinning and exploded. They're faced with a pretty unpleasant choice. Neither one is logical, scientific, certainly not scientifically provable. They say this nebula began to spun. It spun faster and faster, and finally it exploded with a big bang. Of course, obvious questions are, where did the energy come from? Where did the matter come from? You know, who made this big bang anyway? And they don't try to offer any answer to that. Here's my two timelines. And again, I found this is absolutely the most effective way to get the point across. The evolutionists believe 20 billion years ago there was a big bang. The Christian believes 6,000 years ago God created. We believe in the beginning God. They believe in the beginning dirt. They're in the same boat we are, trying to answer how did it start. Now you have to watch. I do debates frequently, and I was in where was I last week? Knoxville, Tennessee. No, Coleman, Alabama the week before that. The article that came out in the paper, somebody faxed it to me. Oh, they blasted me up one side and down. They always wait till I'm gone, you know, and then blast me when I get out there to defend myself. After I left El Paso, Texas, back in October 99, the news article came out, and look at the title here. Religious and scientific leaders debate evolution. Now think for a second. What is the unspoken message here? What they're trying to imply is evolution belongs with religion. In other words, those who believe the Bible are religious and everybody else is scientific. Evolution is combined with science is what they're trying to say. Just by the title. Is it religious and scientific leaders debate evolution? Or is it creation religion and evolution religion? See, they're both religions. But the news media seems to always put the slant that, you know, if you believe the Bible, you're not scientific. The unspoken message, there's a lot of unspoken messages here. The Bible isn't part of science. Religion isn't part of science. Isn't that what they're trying to say? There's a difference between religion and science. They do this all the time, and you got to watch for it. Yes, sir.
Isn't it true that, like I said, most scientists, I mean, they lend their credibility, their scientific training to this idea of evolution, and in fact do stand up and debate with you, saying, "I'm a scientist. Here's my credentials," and even though I'm promoting a theory, it's supported because I have these scientific credentials. So isn't it true that scientific leaders are supporting evolution? Why are they doing it?
Many scientists do also happen to believe in evolution. I could say some scientists drive Fords, some scientists drive Chevys. It doesn't mean the Ford has anything to do with science or the Chevy has something to do with science. The fact that he believes in evolution and also is a scientist does not mean there's a connection. And you got to be careful with that, okay? Everybody has a religious belief. Everybody has some kind of religious belief, okay? Even atheists. So the fact that a scientist happens to believe in evolution doesn't mean what he believes in is scientific. He's just mixing his religion with his science. Also, you have to watch who gets to decide who is a scientist. The word science means knowledge. So a person who is in the pursuit or study of knowledge is a scientist. Also, if you look at what happened in the Soviet Union, 10 years ago, if a teacher stood up in class and said, "Kids, I don't believe in communism. Capitalism is a much better system," what would happen to that teacher? Gulag, right? Siberia. Oh, you like snow, huh? Yeah, we can fix that, right? If they survived. Then the teachers get up in school and say, all teachers believe in evolution. Or all teachers believe in communism, or whatever. They try to use this. See, anybody who wants to use majority opinion as an argument, as some kind of evidence, red flags ought to go up all over the place. Hold it, just a minute. Majority opinion doesn't mean a thing. You go to headhunting society, the majority believes it's okay to cut somebody's head off and eat them. Well, it doesn't mean it's right. And so what they do, they try to silence the opposition. Rather than using logic, they use intimidation. And if a scientist does not go along with what everybody else believes, he's likely to lose his job.